You ready, John?
Yeah.
The John Wick series has emerged as one of the most popular action franchises from this decade, a series of over-the-top, violent action thrillers about a former legendary hitman who was forced back into a criminal underworld he previously abandoned. The first installment in 2014 was a surprise hit, delivering an engaging action film telling a bare-bones, straightforward revenge tale about an ex-hitman going on a rampage after some gangster stole his car and killed his dog. It was a simple little movie with a solid protagonist, good individual bad guys, good supporting background characters to help shape the world, with well-shot non-stop action sequences. The second movie, Chapter 2 in 2017, was a big improvement over the first film, telling a really good story about the titular character having to fulfill a blood oath to a crime lord with strong character work and world building, while of course featuring the similarly non-stop action sequences to the first film, but also containing a lot more of it. While the third movie, Chapter 3 Parabellum in 2019, was a silly, over-the-top sequel with lack of substance and bigger budget action sequences that concluded with a dramatic ending that craves for another movie. Which brings us to the latest installment, Chapter 4, an over-the-top action sequel with a lackluster story and does some pretty unexpected things.
You're going to die. Maybe not. And so it begins.
John Wick Chapter 4 takes place several months later after the events of Chapter 3 Parabellum. In New York City, John Wick prepares to exact his revenge against the High Table, a council of crime lords that govern the underworld's most powerful criminal organizations across the globe and is feared and respected by all. When Wick kills the one who is above the High Table known as the Elder, a crime lord named Marquis Vincent de Gramont is appointed by the High Table to kill John Wick and anyone who provides aid to him or opposes the council. To accomplish his task, Gramont hires a retired High Table assassin and old friend of John Wick named Kane to kill him, and if he refuses, his family will be killed. As Wick takes refuge and assistance from his friends, going on the run, fighting off High Table assassins and trained killers, Winston, the owner of the Continental Hotel in New York, suggests that Wick challenge Gramont to a duel, as winning will free him of his covenant to the High Table for good. But in order for such a duel to happen, John will have to restore his association to his crime family he left. Will John Wick get his freedom, or will the High Table finish him?
It's Kevlar front to back, the latest in ballistic chic. Appropriate for all formal occasions, weddings, funerals, High Table duels. After all, a man has to look his best when it's time to get married. Or buried.
John Wick Chapter 4 is a ludicrous, over-the-top movie. From its action-packed opening, everything happens so much to the killing machine John Wick, blazing a bloody trail wave after wave of disposable enemies from New York to Osaka to Berlin to Paris. With many sequences that drag on far past the point of redundancy, more so than any of the previous movies have done in the series. What started out as a simple, tight, gritty, grounded world has seemed to have gradually evolved more gratuitous. The first two films, mostly Chapter 2, made it clear that the world of the series adheres to its own rules, with urgency, stakes, and tension narrative elements, and all the following ones have gotten ridiculous. And Chapter 4 throws logic out the window, delivering a more unrestrained overkill experience than the previous movies. Even the tone has weird shifts at times, starting out strong and serious in the first act, but gradually turns into a wild, silly extravaganza, similar to the third film, but more excessive. The plot in this film is very thin, lacks in any tension and character work, unlike the other sequels, and the longest runtime in the series, which is extended by the film's action scenes. There's so little depth to a lot of the script that even John Wick himself at times comes across as if he isn't sure why he's fighting or how he feels about it. In short, this is a film and sequel about style over substance, makes the script, including all the dialogue, secondary to the action, doesn't have a lot to do except usher the main characters from one centerfold to the next one. That being said, the production of this film is top-notch, from composition to the lighting, and the action sequences are all well shot. Stunt work and combat choreography is well performed, though there are some brief, noticeable moments where some stuntmen miss some of their marks and wait for the actors to get into position, which could have been prevented by tightening the sequences up and shortening them, as many of the action scenes are over-exaggerated and drawn out. Nevertheless, the action in this film is nothing short of exciting and satisfying to watch, and the film makes you feel the blows as you watch John Wick and the cast take and dole out beatings. Cast and performances are all good. Keanu Reeves as John Wick is just as cool and delightful as the infamous hitman who will kill anyone that comes for him or gets in his way to accomplish his goal to be free of the criminal world. Bill Skarsgård as Gramont is a decent antagonist, a high-ranking, ambitious, cruel, arrogant crime lord chosen by the High Table to eliminate John Wick. The character is practically the same as Santino D'Antonio from the second movie, Chapter 2, a dishonorable crime boss wanting to change traditions or cheat and bend the rules of the High Table for their individual desires, forcing others to do their dirty work for them, or putting a contract on Wick's head for anyone to destroy him.
You come here thinking there is a way out of this world for you, Mr. Wick. Or is not?
No one gets out and comes back without repercussions.
Kane, a High Table assassin played by Donnie Yen, is a class act from start to finish, a complex, lethal figure with a sense of style, and his confrontations and martial arts skills against Keanu's Wick and other opponents are stellar as he always does on screen. Killa Harkin, played by Scott Adkins, a German crime boss, is the biggest standout in this movie. A psychopathic man that likes to play games to decide people's fate. The character is a scene-chewing delight that steals the movie with a memorable performance and a significant obstacle in John Wick's quest for freedom. Scott Adkins is a martial artist sensation known for making many straight-to-video action martial arts movies for many years, one series in particular that's considered as one of the best martial arts film franchises of all time, with relatively few appearances in theatrical action films. And he delivers an awesome performance in John Wick Chapter 4.
I thought we play a game. One hand. The winner decides who lives and who does not.
Much of the same can be said for Marco Zaror, another well-known martial artist who plays Gramont's right-hand man, a proficient fighter who leads many attacks against the titular John Wick, while of course showing off his skills and techniques as one of the top martial artists in the film industry. A weak point in the cast is Mr. Nobody, played by Shamir Anderson. Despite a good performance, the role of this character is largely forgettable. He's a bounty hunter with a killer dog looking to kill targets for the highest price, and the script doesn't give the character anything else to do except just be along for the ride. Honestly, the role could be cut from the film and it wouldn't impact the story in any way. Taking a deeper look again at the John Wick franchise, the first two movies in the series got the balance right with the action, plot, and character, and at the same time creating a gritty, serious, real, lived-in world, centered around a protagonist in a pain that made him instantly a character you could root for, not to mention a character greatly respected and feared by many criminal organizations and other assassins alike, along with a cast of solid characters to invest in. While the sequels onward feel like they take place in a different universe that's full-blown fantasy and more lightweight in tone. Going in a very outrageous direction, John Wick, now with his superhero status, capable of breaking all the rules of physics, demolishing virtually every single person who crosses his path. So clad in plot armor, the character simply can't be killed by conventional means or by following the rules that made the High Table into the thriving operation that it is. In other words, John Wick is no more the scary Baba Yaga of the criminal underworld society or the mainstream. Now he is a plain killing machine that kills lots of bad guys in so many ways, like a slasher villain. Which also raises a big question for the future of this franchise. If more installments are going to be made, how over the top and outrageous are the makers willing to go with the action? Considerably the meaningless action regarding goons that will never beat John Wick, action sequences of inconvenient obstacles rather than a series of triumphant victories. And that's fatal for any action movie.
All in all, John Wick Chapter 4 is an entertaining action film and a really nice gift to cinemas. Since nearly all modern entertainment is fake, artificial, CGI messes, it's good to get another thrilling movie done pretty much entirely with practical effects, stunt pieces, and made by visually inventive people seeking new ways to keep audiences slack-jawed. Despite the highs and lows in film quality in the series, seeing great action stars like Keanu Reeves with a passionate, skilled production team behind them, that's a journey worth taking to go see on the big screen, especially if you're a fan of the action genre.